A new AI calling tool was released called Grok Build, so I decided to give it a try and see what I can make, using the free trial. Now it looks like a lot, but I promise you it's really simple, even though it has a lot of nodes and an alien in the middle. It's actually a human body with all of its organs, so that when you select a supplement, which is what those circles are, you get a visual representation of what it actually does. There is a lot of high quality information on the internet when it comes to supplements, however it just gets so confusing, and with so many different opinions it is hard to keep track of what is good and what is bad. And so I made a tool which makes it easy. You click on the node and you get a little description along with the actual organs it supports. And I do want to make it so that you can click on them and see in detail actually how it supports those organs. Of course you can turn off the different groups and see what you want to see. To keep the whole experience interactive, as you disable different groups, the nodes move around and position themselves. But that's not all. You can also click on habits, exercises and foods. It's really important because supplements are not the only thing you can do to improve your health and longevity. There is also the full explorer, but I'm not really sure if I like this. It does feel a bit overwhelming since you have a lot of nodes. I'm probably going to expand the inspector section and keep all the information on one screen. Nodes are currently all over the place and I do think I will be removing some, also adding a lot of them, but for now I think this is good, a good starting point anyways. Here's the experimental exercise tab. I did try to create something useful, but I can't find the balance between adding too many exercises and keeping it simple. For now it doesn't really make sense, so let's switch over to the food tab, which is a lot better. Even now it has 100 different types of food, and for every one of those you can see how it directly impacts your organs and your body as a whole. In the future it will be probably good to connect this with the supplement table in such a way to see exactly what you get from different types of food. You have probably noticed that every circle has a number inside of it. That number represents its longevity score. The bigger the number, the better it is for you. However, these numbers don't really mean that much because they were just generated by Grok, and in the future I do plan on updating everything according to scientific research. You can see I also added bad foods. Now it's really important to avoid those because you can see they do a lot of damage. For example, if you took a high dose of beta-carotene, high dose of iodine, melatonin, you're probably going to damage your organs without even realizing it. That is why it is extremely important to test your blood and also be informed in what you're taking in. Now that you're up to date, it is time to start building again. However, I have no more free credits left. So, should I just get Super Grok, or should I attempt to go a different route and just get the API key, which is extremely cheap, and save some money? Now, in my defense, compared to Claude, Grok Build is extremely cheap. It is just $1 per million tokens. And so, I threw $9 at it. If anything, I was really curious to see how far $9 will take me. If you want to use your API key, be sure to export it using this variable and start up Grok. And then you can get disappointed because you do not have access to the Composer 2.5 model, and also your token length is limited. Instead of 500 you get 128k. But never mind that, we are ready to build, and so we will start. Time to kick back and relax as Grok does all the work for us. Yes, I did give it a big to-do list, but it is already at 77,000 tokens. And it did its job, it finished. Now you can press F or click on all to hide them and show them. I'd say that's a good start, however we are already full with our context length. And as an example of how you should not do your prompts, I'm going to tell it to do more and just try to do it better, while being efficient. At this point we used up 3 million tokens and almost a whole dollar. Now I have to say I did not expect to use this many tokens for doing just a single thing. Before switching to Grok Build, I mostly used open source programs and AI agents, and I have to say, compared to pretty much all the open source models, Grok Build is just 10 times faster and much more precise. But even so, with its speed, I still had to fidget and let my ADHD out by playing with the slider. And once I got bored of that, I decided to check the credit usage. Luckily for us, Grok has an amazing tool to deal with this. The compacting mode. It takes the 100,000 tokens of our context and compresses them all the way down to 10,000. This way, we don't have to start a new project or add additional information every time we work on something. Also, if you tell it to do something and also not to do something, it will remember those things as you compress it every time, so it carries on the most important information and removes the things it does not need. We are already down to $7.32, which should be enough for us to do some good work. The slider should now be fully implemented, however it still does not work completely, and we do have a new feature, which is this share on X button. I'm not really sure who is going to use something like this. Grok made it, so we have it. I'm going to describe the issue and tell it a few other things to do, redirect everything to Grokipedia, and also create better templates in the inspector tab, especially for magnesium and creatine, which we will later on use as a template for all others. The slider should now be fixed, and we can also click on the actual organs it supports and see additional information.
Nice.
And the slider now leaves only the top supplements, so we can filter it out to only show the best ones.
Yeah, boy.
And so our context is full again. No matter, we can just compact it and get on with our building. And if you're wondering, using the compact tool does not actually increase your token usage. It is free to use. It does take a while though, and it feels, I have to say, slower than actual Grok when it's building something. And the slider works so good now, just look at it go. We have used half of our credits and somehow we used 10 million tokens. That's pretty impressive, I must say. However, I was not planning on wasting any tokens this run, so I just told it to actually cut the costs by not changing any text of the node, but just making a proper template, which will allow us to update the actual information using external tools without wasting any tokens. And as you can see, the start of the file is the actual template which we can use to edit the information below. This way, we don't have to rely on other parts of code in order to actually change or update the information. This allows us to take the file and just put it into Grok, tell it what we need to change, update, and it will do it for us by outputting a single file, which we manually put back into place, and voila, we have it finished. Having so much information in one place is amazing for learning. However, we want to make things a little bit more personal and allow people to see what would be best in their particular case. Now, this is a massive project all by itself, so for now we're just going to make the most basic thing and just leave it there and see what we can do with it as we build the application. It made it quite quickly, however it was empty and nothing was showing up. And one quick fix later, it was working perfectly. It now allows you to enter many things like age, gender, weight, height, all of which play a key role in what supplements and food you should take. And so our credits are running out. Not bad for 16 million tokens. Even though it might seem like we did not do so much in this build, we actually changed a lot of it and used up more tokens because we had to pull up the existing code and see the current state of the project before implementing the next fix. I will be making a sequel where I change the horrible looking graphics into something much more presentable. If you find this project interesting and would like to see more development with Grok, subscribe.